Have you ever gone to bed at night thinking everything was fine, only to wake up the next morning feeling dizzy, weak, or just not yourself? Sometimes it passes after a few minutes, other times it lingers. And too often, we brush it off. We tell ourselves maybe we slept wrong, maybe it's just age, maybe it's nothing serious. But what if those little moments weren't random at all? What if the way you sleep, the things you eat, the habits you repeat every morning, and even the medical tests you agree to could quietly shape whether you stay independent and energized in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, or whether you face the kind of health crisis that changes everything overnight? I know that sounds dramatic, but I promise you it isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up, to remind you that the smallest details of daily life can either protect your brain and heart or quietly put them at risk. And before we go deeper, let me ask for something small but important. I've set a personal goal to reach the first 1,000 subscribers here on Energized After 60. If you find even one idea in this video that makes you pause, reflect, or feel more empowered about your health, please hit that subscribe button. It may seem like just a click, but to me, it means we're building a community of people who care about living stronger, safer, and sharper lives as we age. Now let's begin where all of us do, every single night in bed. Most of us think of sleep as the time our bodies shut down, but in reality, it's when some of the most important healing and repair work happens. Your brain clears toxins, your blood vessels rest and reset, memories get organized. Sleep is the ultimate tune-up. But here's the part many people don't realize. The position you sleep in can either support that healing process or quietly sabotage it. Think about it. Have you ever woken up with your arm completely numb? That strange pins and needles feeling, almost like your arm doesn't belong to you? That's not just poor circulation in your arm. That's your body whispering that blood flow somewhere isn't reaching where it needs to. I once met a man in his late 60s who swore by sleeping on his side. He couldn't fall asleep any other way. But almost every morning, he woke up with tingling fingers and a numb face. He thought it was harmless, maybe just a quirk of age. But when doctors examined him, they found plaque building in the artery along his neck. And every night, by pressing on that artery for hours while sleeping on his side, he was cutting blood flow to his brain. He had no idea he was increasing his stroke risk every single night without realizing it. Side sleeping isn't always bad. In fact, for many people, it's comfortable and fine. But staying locked on one side for too long can compress the very vessels that feed oxygen to your brain. Your body tries to warn you with numbness, tingling, or grogginess. And if those warnings are ignored, sometimes the consequences are devastating. Now let's talk about pillows. Many of us love a tall, fluffy pillow. It feels cozy and supportive. But picture your head tilted forward for 7 or 8 hours straight, as if you'd been staring down at your phone all night. That forward tilt can squeeze the arteries that run through your spine, reducing oxygen to your brainstem. A woman in her 70s had this exact problem. Every morning she woke up dizzy, sometimes needing to cling to furniture just to stand up. She thought she had vertigo. In reality, her thick pillow was bending her neck just enough to starve her brain of oxygen. When she swapped to a thinner pillow that kept her head aligned with her spine, her dizziness faded almost overnight. And what about the fetal position? That tight little curl with your knees tucked up and your head bent forward feels safe, maybe even comforting. But when you fold yourself up so tightly, you shrink the space your lungs have to expand. Less oxygen enters your bloodstream. Less oxygen reaches your brain. Combine that posture with a high pillow pushing your chin toward your chest, and you've created a double restriction on your circulation. I remember a woman who curled up this way every night. Each morning, she woke with numb fingers and spells of dizziness. She tried drinking more water, changing her diet, even adjusting medications, but nothing worked. until she straightened her posture just a little. A flatter pillow, a cushion between her knees to keep her spine more open, and suddenly the symptoms eased. It wasn't magic. It was circulation, and then their stomachs sleeping. It might feel comfortable for your back, but your neck has to twist to one side for hours on end. That twist compresses the artery delivering blood to your brain. Add to that the pressure on your chest, which makes breathing shallower, and your oxygen levels dip through the night. One of my patients in his mid-60s always slept on his stomach because he thought it helped his snoring. Over time, he developed brain fog and chest tightness in the mornings. What seemed like a harmless position was slowly straining both his brain and his heart. The hopeful part is that small adjustments make a world of difference. Alternate sides instead of staying on one all night. Use supportive pillows to keep your neck aligned instead of bent. Keep your face uncovered so you're not rebreathing stale air under the covers. Place a cushion behind your back if you tend to roll. These little shifts add up to nights where your brain gets the oxygen it needs and mornings where you wake sharper, steadier, and stronger. Now let's move from night to morning. You open your eyes, the sun is coming in. Without thinking, you roll out of bed quickly. It feels natural, doesn't it? For years, that's exactly how I started my day. But what I didn't realize is that standing too fast in the morning can be one of the most dangerous moments of the day after 60. While you sleep, blood pressure naturally dips. When you suddenly shift from lying flat to standing upright, your body doesn't always adjust fast enough. Blood pressure can plummet. The brain doesn't get enough oxygen. That wave of lightheadedness, that wobble when you first stand up, that's your brain gasping for oxygen for a few crucial seconds. For some people, those seconds are all it takes for a fall, a faint, or even a small stroke. But the fix is simple. Take 90 seconds, stretch your arms, flex your feet, sit up on the edge of the bed, and breathe. Give your body time to adjust. It's not laziness, it's intelligence. That one extra minute could save you from a dangerous fall or a silent stroke. Now let's talk about water. After 7 or 8 hours without a sip, your brain wakes up thirsty. It's nearly 75% water, after all. When you don't drink right away, your blood thickens slightly. Circulation slows. Stroke risk rises. And yet, what do most of us reach for first? Coffee. But coffee on a dehydrated brain is like trying to start an engine without oil. It jolts the system, raises blood pressure, and makes your heart work harder. If you're over 60, those spikes matter more than you think. So here's a morning ritual worth remembering. Water first, then breakfast, then coffee. A single glass of water right after waking helps thin the blood, refresh circulation, and wake the brain more gently than caffeine ever could. Breakfast doesn't need to be elaborate, but it should avoid the hidden salts that creep into processed cereals, breads, sausages, or packaged oats. These foods quietly load your body with sodium, and paired with the natural morning rise in blood pressure, that sodium can push levels dangerously high. Instead, choose fresh fruit, plain oats, eggs, or avocado. Foods that fuel rather than strain. And then there's one more overlooked habit: holding in your bladder. It seems harmless, right? You wake up, check your phone, scroll through the news, maybe delay that bathroom trip. But a full bladder releases stress hormones. Those hormones raise blood pressure and tighten blood vessels at the exact moment your body is already adjusting from sleep. For anyone with high blood pressure or heart concerns, that extra spike can be a real risk. So consider this: when you wake up, going to the bathroom isn't just routine, it's your first act of self-care. Now, let's move into movement. Staying active is one of the best things you can do after 60. But here's the surprising part. Not all exercise is safe. In fact, some of the most common movements can quietly increase your stroke risk. Many of us wake up and try to loosen a stiff neck with a quick roll or twist. But the arteries in your neck are delicate. A sudden whip or exaggerated stretch can actually compress or even tear them. There are documented cases of strokes triggered not by accidents, but by aggressive stretching. The safer choice is slow, controlled head movements, a gentle tilt, a slow turn. Respect your arteries the way you'd respect fragile glass tubing. What about weightlifting? It's fantastic for maintaining strength, but many people hold their breath while lifting. This is called the Valsalva maneuver, and it can spike blood pressure in seconds. For aging arteries, those spikes can be enough to trigger trouble. The fix? Breathe. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lower. Choose weights that challenge you, but don't force you to strain. Moving with rhythm is safer and far more sustainable than pushing recklessly heavy loads. And let's not forget yoga. Inversions like headstands or shoulder stands might look graceful, but they flood your brain with sudden pressure. For older adults, those surges can overwhelm fragile blood vessels. Gentler poses, like legs up the wall, bring the same circulation benefits without the danger. Even the treadmill can be a trap. Running too fast without holding the rails is risky. Reaction time slows with age. Balance isn't as reliable. A single stumble can lead to fractures or head injuries. A safer option is steady walking or walking at an incline to challenge your heart without risking a fall. The lesson is simple. Staying active is non-negotiable, but pushing recklessly isn't strength, it's risk. Moving smarter, not harder, is the secret to staying energized after 60. Now let's step into the kitchen. Few people realize how much food choices, especially after 60, directly affect. One surprising culprit is cheese. Not all cheese is created equal. Processed slices, cream cheese, American cheese, they're loaded with salt, saturated fat, and chemical additives that stiffen arteries and raise stroke risk. Blue cheese, for example, contains tyramine, a compound that can dangerously spike blood pressure. But gentler cheeses like ricotta, cottage cheese, goat cheese, and fresh mozzarella support the body instead of straining it. They're rich in protein, lower in sodium, and packed with nutrients that strengthen blood vessels. Choosing these doesn't mean giving up comfort. It means swapping in protection. Every bite past 60 matters a little more. The goal isn't restriction, it's mindful substitution. And what about medical tests? Most of us trust that every test ordered by a doctor is routine and safe. Often they are. But some tests quietly carry risks, especially as we age. CT scans with contrast, MRIs with gadolinium, sedated endoscopies, these can spike blood pressure, stress the kidneys, or even trigger small clots to move. Most people walk away fine, but for someone already vulnerable, these tests can cause the very problems they're meant to detect. That doesn't mean refusing care. It means asking questions. Is this essential? Can we do it without contrast? Are there safer alternatives for someone my age? Informed choices lead to safer outcomes. Your voice matters in every medical decision. So after all these warnings, let's return to hope. Because the truth is, small daily practices can dramatically improve circulation and lower risk. Stand against a wall with your head, shoulders, and back aligned. It gently eases neck tension and improves blood flow. Elevate your legs while sitting, even for a minute. It helps blood return to your heart and prevents pooling. Practice abdominal breathing. Deep, slow breaths calm the nervous system and lower blood pressure. And yes, the gentle pose of lying with legs up the wall refreshes circulation in ways medicine can't. Each of these habits takes less than a minute, but over weeks and months, they add up. They protect. They energize. They keep your brain clear and your body strong. So here we are, at the end of this long reflection. We've uncovered how the way you sleep, the way you rise, the food you eat, the exercises you choose, and even the medical tests you agree to can shape your future more than you might realize. But this isn't about fear, it's about awareness. It's about recognizing that every small choice you make after 60 is a chance to support your brain, protect your heart, and stay independent, longer. Tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself if your neck feels supported. Tomorrow, before you stand, pause for a sip of water. When you move, move with care. When you eat, choose foods that strengthen instead of strain. These aren't dramatic changes. They're small, quiet choices that compound into a life of energy and clarity. And remember this, your body has carried you this far. It deserves gentleness. It deserves care. And it deserves a future filled with clarity and strength. If even one idea here spoke to you, share it in the comments. Your experience might be the encouragement someone else needs. And please, if you haven't yet, subscribe to Energized After 60. Let's build this community together, one wise choice at a time. Sleep well tonight. Move gently tomorrow. And never forget, it's never too late to feel energized, alive, and truly at home in your own body.